Hello guys and welcome back. So in this section we'll create a filter pipe and then we'll see what all issues are there with a pure pipe, which is the default mode in which a pipe is created in Angular. Okay, so I'll generate a pipe named filter in here. Okay, and then we are going to use this filter pipe on the users array that we have. So I'll open up the component section and in here I'll open up the parent section and in the parent component class, I'll inject the user service as a dependency. Okay, all right. Now I'm also going to add a method in the user service, add user, which is going to get a user here, which is of type iUser. Okay, and essentially what this will do is it will add some users to this array. So this dot users dot push will push a new user right now. Okay, let's save this. And in the parent component, let's first get a list of users here. So users, which is of type iUser, array. Okay, iUser is again something that I'll have to import from its respective place, and then I can do something like this dot users equal to this dot user service dot get users, like so. Okay, now I have the users with me. I can open up the parent component and I'll create an HR tag here and I'll add an H4 here that says pure and impure pipes. Okay, and in here we'll use an unordered list with a class of list group, inside which there will be a list item with a class of list group item, and we'll place an ng for on this let user of users, and for each user we are going to uh, basically print something. Let's open up the structural directive a minute, and with that we can see the classes that we would be using. So in the parent component I'll simply use that, like so. I won't be using the ng switch case, but I should be using the class of alert success. Okay, now in here we'll simply specify the user ID as user.id, then user name as user.name, and that's it, I guess. Okay, let's save this, and below this I'm gonna create a button, or just above that we are going to create a button with a class of button and button primary that will say add user. Okay, and then on the click of this button I'll call a method named add user that should be defined on my parent component. So this dot user service dot add user. To this, I'd like to pass in an ID as say mm, this dot users dot length plus 2. Then the name would be Jacob Riglin, and email, it says jacob at domain.com, like so. Okay, I'm just passing some random input. Okay, like so. And let's save this and see how it looks like. So I'll navigate to the parent component and let's reload this. So I see a list of users in here. Okay, and if I click on add user, then the user gets added to the screen as well, like so. Okay, all right, now let's filter this user list based on the ID. Okay, we have already created a filter pipe here in the pipes folder. If I reload it, then I should see it. Okay, so we have this pipe. Okay, and the value, or let me just rename it to input, is going to be an I user array. I won't be needing any parameters that needs to be passed, and then this is going to return an I user array. Now again, I user is something that I'll have to import. Okay, so now in the transformation, what I'm going to do is I'll filter the input for user such that the user.id modulus 2 is equal to 0. So what this will do is it will filter out all the users with IDs that are even in nature. Okay, so I should get back all the users with even IDs. Okay, or let's say not equal to 0. Okay, so that I get a list of all the users with odd IDs. Okay, now I'm going to use this filter pipe in the parent components template here. So I'll pass the users array via the filter pipe, like so. Okay, and let's see. Right now I just see 1, 3, and 5. Okay, if I click on add user, I don't really see the users getting added to this one though. Okay, uh, let's say that I also had a text field in here, input type text, and the value is going to be in ng model. Let's say filter id type. Okay, and then this is going to filter out by filter id type. Now again, this is something that I'll have to use inside the parent component. So I'll have to declare this as a string in here. Okay, and the appender, sorry, the filter pipe will also receive this as the filter id type, which is going to be a string. Okay, all right, now if the filter id type is, say, let's first check if this is empty. Okay, so if this is equal to empty, like so, then we would be returning whatever we got as an input. Else, we would return based on what's expected from us. So if filter ID type is equal to odd, in that case we'll filter out for not being equal to 0. Else we'll filter out for input each input's ID to be equal to 0, like so. Okay, let's save this and let's go back to the view to check. Let me get rid of the things that we have at the top so that we are not distracted with all this template. I'll just comment this out as of now. Okay, perfect. Right. So now if I uh, we should also pass this something like, okay, filter ID type is something that we are already passing to it, right? So if I save this now, if filter ID type is, let's initialize it to an empty string. So if it is empty, then I should be seeing all the users right now. But if I type in odd, then I should only be seeing odd users. While if I type in even, then I should only be seeing even users. Okay. Let's say now that if I click on add user while I'm on odd, okay, it doesn't show me anything, right? But if I get rid of this odd here, then I would see that there are a lot of users added, okay, with different IDs, the same username though. Okay, so now if I click on odd, then I should see all of them, and if I click on even, then I should be seeing only the even users. Okay, but what exactly is happening when, let's say, I reload this, and what exactly is happening if I'm odd and if I'm clicking on add user? Why exactly are the odd users not getting added to this list? While if I click on remove, if I remove the filter text, then I'm seeing all those users. What exactly is the issue with this? Well, it turns out that Angular doesn't really perform recompilation of the filtered results when there is a change in the actual data it is filtering on, right? So just to just to confirm that, let's quickly go to the sources section, and in here we'll place a breakpoint on the filter pipe. Okay, so whenever I type odd, then for each time it's going to run the pipe. Okay, but now if I click on add user, then it won't run the pipe for me. Okay, basically what's happening is that the input data is changing, but the filter type or the filter input, the argument that is passed to the input, sorry, argument that is passed to the filter pipe is not changing right now. So Angular will not recompile this, uh, the result of this transform method. Okay, and that is because it is by default pure in nature, so it won't do that, and it should not do that ideally as well, because it would cost us a lot of performance if it did. Okay, so it shouldn't ideally do that. But what if we wanted the changes to be added to this filtered list as well? Okay, so what if I wanted that if I clicked on reload, let me just get rid of this breakpoint here. So if I clicked on reload and then I selected odd and then added some users, what if I wanted those users to get populated right here, right now in this list? Well, to do that, you can specify something in the pipe, okay? And it also takes something called pure, okay, which is by default true. So if we don't specify anything, it defaults to pure. But if we specify this, then it's going to be impure in nature, or it takes in a boolean, I guess. Okay, so by default it is true in nature, but if I make it as a false pipe, okay, its purity as false. And then now if I select odd and then click on add, then I'll see that the users are being added to this list now. Okay, so this might be a use case wherein there might be a use case wherein you might want the data to be updated if there is a change in the data, while there is no change in the uh, in the argument to the pipe. But then this again costs a lot of performance, so you should keep the performance factor in mind while implementing such a thing. But again, if you want if you are in such a scenario wherein this is a particular sort of use case that you want implemented in your application, then you can make an impure pipe by specifying the pure um, pure argument name, or sorry, by specifying the pure field in the metadata object for the pipe decorator to false, which is by default true. Okay, and then if it is specified as false, the purity of it is specified as false, then it will run whenever there is a change in the data as well. Okay, so if let's say I select odd right now, and if I initially it was not running when when it was pure, right? If I click on add user, it will again run now in that case. Okay, and it will run every time when the user is added, like so. Okay, so this was all regarding impure pipes, and what all are the use cases wherein you might want to use them. Okay, that was it regarding pipes. Now in the next session we'll revisit the topics on decorators, and we'll see what all types of decorators there are in Angular, and how we can create custom decorators in Angular as well. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.